Hey guys, welcome to our channel, Wunderlust Life. I'm Corey.
And I'm Jen, along with our one-eyed dog, Jax.
If creative DIYs, product reviews, and adventure are your thing, you've come to the right place.
Quick disclaimer. The product we're going to discuss today is not sponsored by nor paid for by the company we will be discussing. The items in today's video were purchased with our own money.
Greens.
Benjamins.
Now that that's out of the way, let's take a deep dive in today's video.
Today's video is all about the Magicycle e-bike rack. If you're like us, then I'm sure you have questions.
Will it require an assembly?
Is it sturdy?
Is this thing even worth the price?
We received this bike rack as part of a combo package that Magicycle currently is offering. We did the two Jaguarundis with bonus bike rack for free.
If you're interested in just getting the bike rack, the current sale price is $3.99.
Check out the website for their deals and details, and don't forget you can use your Magic coins for a deeper discount.
Let's get this box open and let's see what's inside. Hey guys, let's get inside this box and see what's going on. For starters, this box weighs in at almost 52 pounds. It's not incredibly heavy, but just want you to be aware there is some weight to it. So on the inside, it looks like we've got a instruction manual. I'm sure it's going to kind of give you a little brief summary of how this thing's going to go together, so we'll be checking that out. This here, I'm sure, is all the hardware and tools required to assemble this guy. We'll move down over here. All right, looks like the tire, I guess you would call it a cradle, that's what I'm going to call it. Now this thing is pretty significant here. These straps are heavy duty, so I just grabbed some tin snips just to make my life a little easier. This is the end that goes into your hitch receiver. It's a 2-inch, so your hitch on your vehicle will have to accommodate a 2-inch box steel dimension. So we're just going to set that aside for now. Bike wheel secure straps, I guess. We're just going to unstrap this. And again, the packaging is just really nice on this product, as was the e-bikes that we just received. The packaging is very nice. Everything's individually wrapped and strapped down in such a way that you won't receive any damage, it looks like, unless the box was completely demolished. And these are probably the brackets that support the bikes. We'll get into it more as we start to assemble this thing. All right, we got all the stuff out of the box. The instruction manual isn't bad, has a lot of illustrations inside. Unfortunately, it doesn't really name what these components are. It just lists them as quantities. I'm going to just get creative on what we're going to call these parts as we're putting this thing together today. But one thing I wanted to mention is the construction is very, very nice. I mean, this is heavy wall box tubing. I didn't put a caliper on it, but I bet it's close to 100 thou thick. This is not wimpy stuff. It's a nice, durable, looks like a black powder coat finish. And it's definitely a very nice rack. So I think for the money, at least, you're going to be getting a good value here. And we're going to put this thing together for you. Now, full disclosure, I've already built this thing once. We had it on our truck. I learned a lot of things as I built it. I shot the video. There were so many things that I did wrong that I just wanted to reshoot the video. In my experience, the one thing that you want to do is just kind of go slow on this. One of the things I would suggest, in my opinion, that would make this easier is if you built it actually while it was installed on your hitch. in my opinion, that would probably be the easiest way to do it. But the weather is not good right now. We got snow on the ground, so here we are back in front of the lights in our living room that's been turned into a production studio. Here we go. We're going to start here with this, I guess this would just be called a support assembly for the bike itself. So this is like the primary support assembly. So the first thing that we'll do is we have these rear wheel ratchet strap block assemblies. And honestly, I've debated which way should I put this, what makes the most sense. And in my experience, this one's going to be closest to the truck, so I'm going to mount it to where my ratchet strap is, facing this way. Again, it's not critical because you're going to, you'll be able to remove this and flip it if you decide you don't like the way you put it on initially. So one of the things that I wanted to comment is on the inside of this plastic, it has some like resistant tabs, and their purpose is to just allow this to be maneuverable, but not just free sliding. Put this on like this. You may have to give it a couple of good whacks. Once this is on the vehicle, this actually is a little easier to move. You know, you can put some leverage on it. Right now, I don't have that luxury. So once you've done that, there is a hole here, and that is for a bolt to put in here. And the bolt just ensures that this will not slide off once you have this installed on your vehicle. So this bolt's just to guarantee this thing doesn't go any farther. So we're going to give that a good little turn. This is a number 5 wrench, Allen. The one thing that I did completely wrong when I built this the first time, I assumed that the cradle would be like this, because I was thinking, oh, your front tire's in it, you don't want it to go over. But it won't work that way. You have to have it mounted like this. And the reason is, once you have your bike in here, your front wheel's going to be in here. This is going to basically force the wheel into the cradle. So make sure you put the front wheel cradle this way as you're building this assembly. So we're going to do that next. And it came with a couple of coarse threaded bolts. We're going to get those going. And we're going to, it's a number 10 socket. The bike rack does come with a 10mm wrench. I just getting kind of tired of building this thing, so I wanted to be building it as quick as I could. Now don't over tighten these because you are threading, you have a coarse threaded bolt or screw that's threading into the plastic, so you don't want to strip that out. That would be a bad thing. So we have this one built, and one of the things I wanted to note, I'm going to grab the other part and then I'll show you, but this is the first one we're going to install. Now the other one has a Magicycle decal here, and if you're like me, you kind of melt down on things if they don't appear to be right. So I'll show you further into the video, but we're going to use this one first. This is going to be mounted up first on our assembly. So let me grab the other parts here. So this is the primary body assembly of this entire rack. And as I hold it here, basically this part here is what's going to go into your vehicle's hitch receiver. And it is a 2-inch dimension. So your receiver on your vehicle has to accommodate a 2-inch hitch. This would actually be easier if it were on the vehicle, in my opinion. We're going to take this part, and one of the cool things that they did for you is they provided these stickers kind of to give you alignment for your parts. So this is what I'm calling the receiving bracket, and I'm going to put that on here, and align it with this sticker like so. So we're going to mount this bike support assembly onto the primary assembly now. I've got my bracket with the nuts welded to it here, and we're going to mount this crossbar assembly next. You have a sticker here. And take your top bracket, kind of just eyeball it. It's going to move around a little bit. And then take the bolts that were included in the installation kit, get them started. If you have an extra set of hands, I'd certainly recommend it. Unfortunately, my awesome better half is behind the camera doing the hardcore work. We're going to get this going. It's a number 5 wrench, and that was supplied in the kit. Like I said, everything that you would need to assemble this is provided to you in the kit. And before you get it too tight, just make sure that everything is aligned. So you'll be able to know if you're aligned by looking at these decals. They kind of help you keep it centered. All right, so this is the second part of the assembly. I've already attached the front wheel cradle. Again, pay attention to your orientation. You want the swoop up kind of facing inward, not that way. So I've already bolted that on. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was this Magicycle logo. When I first built this thing, I had this piece over here and this piece over there, and you couldn't see the logo. And it would have been fine. It would have been fully functional, and the bikes would have traveled just fine. But I wouldn't be able to sleep knowing that this logo wasn't visible. So it's the goofy things like that that kind of slow me down. We're going to assemble this second bike support assembly, same as we did with the first. I'm going to take the bracket with the welded nuts, and I'm just going to line it. And then you're going to take your corresponding part, and you're going to mount it so that the cradles are opposing each other, because each bike has to face opposite of the other when it's assembled on this. So all I've done is just making sure that my label's somewhat centered on the bracket as I begin to tighten these bolts down. So at this point, I'm just getting these bolts tight. This pretty much concludes the actual assembly of this bike rack. Like I said, it's not too complex. We're going to show you in later portions of the video how we install it on a trailer hitch, how we load the bikes up, how we make adjustments. This can be positioned in a couple of different angles, so stay tuned for more information. We're going to install this into the receiver. The bike carrier comes with the hardware that you need. And one thing to note, this is threaded to accommodate the threads on this pin.
There's a clip that goes on this side.
That will snap on once you've threaded this in. The one thing that I was planning to use is just our standard pin for our receiver. But the thing is, it doesn't clear the threaded portion of this hole, so we can't use this in this particular situation. So I'm glad that Magicycle includes the hardware that you need to get this installation complete, and that's what we're going to do next. Highly recommended as a two-person operation. We're going to lift this up, line this here, and then we're going to just, there we go. I think we've got it aligned. We'll find out here. We're going to get the camera a little closer, and we'll let you see what's going on up close. Well, hopefully I've got this aligned. We're gonna get this in here. We're gonna start threading this. And it is kind of snug. And this is a 24mm socket that I have here. And we're just gonna ratchet this thing on. And then we're just gonna put this retainer pin on. It's really just a safety measure so that this doesn't try to back out. It just snaps around the exterior diameter of that. And it's just a preventative measure in case this were to back out. And so there's 3 positions total. There's up at a 90, straight out here. This is where your bikes would ride. And then another one, I'm not sure degree wise, but downward. 3 positions total. And this lever allows you to release this latch mechanism and make your 3 different positions. So remove this pin here. Just gonna set it over here for now. This lever, pull it towards you. And that will allow you to rotate this upwards and it latches into position. Or if you had a hatchback like this one over here and you wanted to be able to open your hatch, this would also allow you to lower it down so you could open your hatch up and have clearance. So we're going to position it like this, and we're going to put the pin in because we don't want this thing to potentially rock once we get our bikes on here. So always put that pin in place. That prevents this from moving. So one thing I wanted to comment that I discovered purely by accident is when I was trying to loosen this, I was really having some issues with this letting go. And what was happening that I didn't realize was happening is you want to swing this out of the way just a little bit so that this has full range of motion. At that point, you know, it tends to work better. So with that being said, if this is all the way down, it doesn't allow this to fully disengage. I think they could probably do something to improve this design, but in any event, if you swing this up just a little bit and then you pull the lever, it's not an issue. It's only when this is down, it prevents this from swinging all the way forward. So swing that up a little bit or a lot, and then you'll have the full range of motion that you need. All right, well, we finally got these things loaded up, figured out where we went wrong on assembly. We'll make sure to point those out for you in the video. But as you can see, the Magicycle Jaguarundi E fits perfectly fine on here. According to their website, all the models that they offer will fit on here. We'll put some specs in here as far as maximum distance between the axles and all those kind of details that you'll need. But what we're going to do now is just demonstrate how these get installed or removed and loaded and unloaded. So let's do that now. One of the things that we weren't positive about is whether or not the headlight, the fender, or the reflector would have to be removed in order to transport these bicycles, e-bikes rather. My biggest concern about that was I didn't want to have to disassemble this thing every time I wanted to load it up and go ride. So what we did is we used a little bit of packaging here. We borrowed this idea from Russ's Right, and he had a great idea here. So we borrowed a little bit of packaging from the e-bike box this came in, and we stuffed this in here, so it just provides a little bit of rigidity here. It doesn't, kind of protects the fender, keeps everything in place. The one thing that I find interesting is the way this retainer arm is designed. It does kind of rest on the fenders, and portions of it do touch against the shock tower as well, but so far we haven't had any issues that we're concerned about. Now, we really haven't put these through a lot of road travel, but we'll report back as we go. So moving from the front to the back, you have this retainer up here that kind of harnesses the front wheel in place. Before you remove your bike, the first thing you'll want to do is unstrap the front strap. I'm going to try to do this by myself. We haven't attempted that yet. It's just got a little spring-loaded buckle. So I'm going to get that strap undone, leaving this in place. Now on the back, you have a kind of a rubberized ratchet strap. I don't know as far as longevity, how long it's going to hold up, but again, we'll just let time be the determination on when this has to be replaced, if it ever does. This is positionable depending on your bike, so we basically just lifted it up, set here, and you can slide this around to get it in the right spot. So I'm going to unbuckle the back, and I'm just going to pull this out of the way. So now the bike is free to be removed from the rack. So the next thing you'll want to do is make sure you hold on to it. There's a button here, you push this in to raise that, and now you can lower this out of the way. So I'm going to try lifting the back side of the bike out first, and we'll see how well that goes. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull my rear brake, kind of pull a Evel Knievel wheelie, and then set the bike down. Make sure your kickstand's in place, and one bike unloaded without getting injured. This is the first time we've unloaded these bikes, so you're learning right along with me. Again, I've just unloaded the first bike. One thing to note, if you had different models of bikes, the heavier of the two bikes is recommended that you load it closest to the vehicle, and the lighter of the two bikes away from the vehicle. So you want the majority of the weight to be closer to the hitch on the trailer. Remove the strap on the rear. And then remove the front strap. So again, I'm gonna press this button and raise the cradle arm up and just rotate this down. And I'm gonna grab the rear of the bike. And actually, I'm just gonna lift it off. We're going to take the pin out. One thing I did notice yesterday is the lever that releases this mechanism will run into this if you don't lift it slightly out of the way. So I'm going to lift that up, release that. I'm going to tilt this up to the vehicle, and now your bike rack is tucked up out of the way, you know, just to prevent the potential of something running into it or whatever. It's just out of the way now. We got a chance to get our bikes out on a really decent day today, and we rode them around the reservoir. Lots of hills, different terrain, and we just had a blast. So we could probably shoot a video somewhere in the future that'll give you more detailed information, but all I can say is if you want fun, get one of these Jaguarundi E-bikes or any e-bike from Magicycle. They offer a huge variety, different sizes and shapes, but we chose these and we're not disappointed at all. We put probably close to 10-15 miles on these things today, and I am not exhausted at all. We went out in our jeans. We had no idea we were going to ride that far, and it just was so much fun. We just couldn't stop. Time to pack it in for the day. So the first thing I wanted to tell you is that before you load your bikes on the rack, they recommend that you take the battery off. One of the reasons is just for safety concerns, and the other is for weight. So the keys, we have two bikes. They both came with a full set of keys, but the key is stamped with a number that corresponds with the number that's stamped in your battery. So makes it kind of nice. They are keyed specifically to each battery, so I can't use the same key on this battery and on that battery. The other thing I wanted to know is you don't have the key. It's not like an ignition. So this key only allows you to remove the battery and lock the battery. So once you're done, you put your keys away, you can ride the bike. There is a passcode security feature in this interface. We haven't set it yet, but you can. We're just going to remove the battery. I've unlocked it. So the other thing that we did, we bought this bag from Magicycle. So we've got some cool RC cars. They use LiPo batteries, lithium, and I'm sure you've seen videos of batteries, catching fire and causing quite a disturbance. We bought the bag. It doesn't come with the bike. It's an accessory. One thing to note, we thought one bag accommodates one battery, but in all actuality, the one bag accommodates two batteries. So we wound up with two bags when we really didn't need two bags. The other thing you want to do is just make sure that your battery has been switched off. The O for off. So we've switched that off. And then we're going to load the bike.
Hey guys, so we are loading our bikes back up and we are going to be heading home after an awesome day of riding. Corey decided that he would be He-Man and wanted to see if he could lift this up on his own. I wouldn't suggest doing that.
I don't recommend it at all. It's definitely easier if you have somebody with you. If you've got somebody helping you to hold it up, that's even better. Strap your rear wheel in real quick. It's got a little ratchet strap. And on the front side, put your foam back in here to kind of provide a little stability underneath this. And then raise this arm up to kind of latch this into place. And now your bike is already pretty secure. Run this strap through. Make sure that's strapped in really good and tight. So we've got the first bike up here. The other thing you want to do is orient your pedals. I'm going to orient this one upwards, and then the corresponding bike will be downwards. Be careful that you're not running into other surfaces on your bike as you're loading the other bike. She's just going to raise that up.
There we go.
Okay. Get your rear wheel strapped in first. And just put your trusty little foam piece up in front here. Again, we're just doing that to kind of provide a little bit of stability underneath your fender. And then latch this into place. And we're gonna strap your front wheel in and just make sure it's nice and snug. I think at some point I might invest in some smaller ratchet straps just as an added security. There's slots in here to allow you to add more additional straps if you want. I would recommend it. And then just make sure everything is securely fastened and you're good to go.
All right, guys, we are loaded back up. It was an awesome day of riding, and in typical Colorado style, the sun has decided to come out and join us. But as the saying goes here, stand still for 10 minutes and you might get to enjoy all 4 seasons.
That's what we've had today. We want to thank you guys for sticking around. I know this video was kind of lengthy, but we wanted to include as much information as we could for you, so you guys could make your decision as to whether or not you want to buy this Magicycle bike carrier.
And to come full circle from the questions that we posed earlier, is this bike carrier sturdy?
Absolutely. As I was building this thing, like I said, the build quality is solid. It's a beautiful powder coat finish, heavy duty bolts, nice weld. So I'm not disappointed at all on that.
Is it worth the price?
Yeah, I think it is. Now, to be fair, we took advantage of Magicycle. They had a kind of a bundle package where they were offering this at actually a huge discount.
It was buy 2, get the bike rack for free.
So yeah, we took advantage of that, but check the video for the latest pricing, and I don't think you'd be disappointed in using this rack.
I think he means check the website for latest pricing.
Check the website, the Magicycle website, for the latest pricing.
Not this website.
Yeah.
Not this.
But you could check our website, but we probably
might
wouldn't
have
help
it.
you.
We'll try our best, okay? anyways, you guys, thanks again. If you found this video helpful, give us a like and subscribe. We so appreciate it. Really helps keep us motivated to make another video for you guys. I know we've been doing a lot of Magicycle stuff. We're kind of waiting for the weather to change here because we are going to be doing some more adventure type stuff, some cool creative DIYs. We have all these things that will be going on. It's just kind of, unfortunately, weather permitting for us here. So until next time, guys, go out and live your very best Wunderlust life.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao.
Creative DIYs, product reviews, and adventure are your thing. You've come to the right place.
Quick disclaimer, the product we are going to discuss today is not sponsored by nor paid for by the company we will be discussing. The items in today's video were purchased with our own money.
Greens.
Benjamins.
Now that's out of the way, let's take a deep dive into today's video.
Today's video is all about the Magicycle E-bike rack. If you're like us, then I'm sure you have questions.
Hold on. Jax can't be in the video, man.
Why?